All right, guys. One last story. Um, like the video. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I know I suck at this shit. That's why I want to make Ty Peasant and Mike the head of this because they better talkers than me and they are more likable. So like the video, but I'm holding it down. All right, guys. So um, yeah. Shout out to Mark Lamont Hill, man. He told the truth here. He's basically talking about Cory Booker's 25-hour nothing burger of a speech, and then it wasn't even a filibuster speech. It's basically just him running off for 25 hours because they weren't arguing on no bill. It's kind of like, I guess it was a protest to Trump or some shit. Which again, it's like you could talk all day, but are you gonna have any action? And this is what Mark Lamont he will get into. So I'm gonna play this and break this down as we go.
Senator Cory Booker just made history, holding the Senate floor for a record 23 hours in a fiery rebuke of Donald Trump and the GOP's agenda, from healthcare
Actually, it was 25 hours. He said 23.
cuts to Elon Musk's shady government takeover. Cory Booker didn't hold back. Question is, what does it mean? Is this political theater or is this an actual fight, however imperfect, for the people?
Obviously, the answer is political theater. I guess Democrats. Yeah, they base say, hey, aren't y'all gonna fight? and one of them said, hey, Cory Booker, get your ass in there and do a 25-hour nothing burger. To show these people that we are fighting, which y'all not. That's what I think. But don't continue.
On the Senate floor, Cory Booker called out Republicans for pushing dangerous policies that could absolutely devastate working class Americans, especially Black and brown communities. He invoked John.
Let's not forget that Chuck Schumer basically gave the Republicans what they want and cut Medicaid. So yeah, this is how I know it's political theater. I think then Chuck Schumer come out and congratulate him for that. I'm like, bro, you sided with cutting Medicaid, and you just like it's a joke. It's a
John
joke.
McCain's legendary healthcare vote, warning that Trump and his allies are coming for Medicaid and more. He gave this marathon speech that he delivered without food, without rest, without a bathroom break.
I believe this guy wore a diaper. He had to wear a diaper. Ain't no way you go 25 hours without shitting. I mean, not shitting, without pissing. I mean, shitting too. But like, come on, man. Like, no way, no way. This guy had a diaper on, bro. Had to.
And he was delivering a fairly clear message. Let me be clear. This wasn't a filibuster.
Yeah.
This was just a message that these are, quote, not normal times in America. That's a message that a lot of people need to hear, that people need to be reminded of. He decided over this 2-day period to really break down what he considers to be the significant harms that President Trump has presented to the American people. Just for context, if you want to nerd out on this, the record that he set today, not that long ago, was 25 hours and 5 minutes. Now, before that, the record was 24 hours and 18 minutes. That was 1957. You want to know who the person was?
Sean Thurman.
Strom Thurmond.
Strong.
And guess what Strom Thurmond was rebuking at the time? Homeboy was against the Civil Rights Act. So this is definitely a different kind of energy, I'll just say. Anyway, nothing got done today. No legislative business. No advancement of any congressional labor went on. It's also important to note that this wasn't a pushback against a specific bill. This wasn't one of those moments where Cory Booker was trying to block a bill or rebuke a bill or push back against the bill or garner support for or against the bill. That wasn't it. He used this as an opportunity to speak out against the Trump agenda. And it's so interesting to me that so many of you all are asking me what I think about it. It makes me think, and I ain't trying to, subject y'all to any psychological analysis, no undue psychological analysis. But I will say, it seems like some of y'all are afraid to say what y'all think about this. That some of y'all are like, yeah, this look kind of whack to me, but I don't want to say it. Or y'all like, yo, this looks pretty awesome, and I don't want to say it because I'm scared I'm wrong. Like, there's something to it because y'all don't usually.
Yeah, I say this like a liberal will see it, and yeah, yeah, he's fighting. The Democrats are finally fighting. They finally doing something. And people like me or any other normie that's not don't like either side are looking like nothing burger. Like it ain't gonna, it don't amount to nothing. It really doesn't amount to nothing. It just, yeah, it's political theater.
Ask me this fervently and this consistently what I think about it. But I'm going to tell you what I think about it. First, Cory Booker has a history, and I would argue a knack for spectacle, for making a spectacle. This is the guy that, when he was mayor of Newark, would, sleeping in the housing projects. And, he just had a way to draw attention, to get eyeballs on him, to get the world to pay attention to him. And that's not a criticism. It's not a dig. It's not a slight. Political activism requires a spectacle. Political organizing requires a spectacle. Political strategies.
Yeah, like protesting. Like, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it does. Like it's a difference between like you doing to me, you doing a spectacle, you just doing it to make yourself look like a hero, and or you doing a spectacle and actually trying to enforce change. Like Cory Book on what I think is like I didn't even know about that he was sleeping in the projects and stuff like that. Like I didn't know that. Damn, I didn't know he was mayor of Newark, New Jersey. Damn, boy, that's a political commentary. I think I need to know this shit, but but yeah, man. Anyway, it's like, yeah, man. I see this guy. He's gearing up to run in 2028, and I think he got this to fall back on, saying that, hey, I broke a record of a racist that didn't want civil rights, and and then I'm fighting the Trump agenda. So that's what I get out of it. Like this is don't mean this don't amount to shit. But anyway, what Cory Booker did for 25 hours.
And tactics across the board require some level of dramatization. Because right now, as we see, the whole world, or at least the whole country, is talking about Cory Booker's actions, which then gets us to talk about Donald Trump's administration. So I'm not surprised that Cory Booker did this. This is kind of what he does. And I'm not against the spectacle. The spectacle is important. It's always important to have people draw attention to a problem, to, as Dr. King said, dramatize a situation. I'm with that. Question is, what are we dramatizing? What are we not? It is mind-boggling to me that someone could spend 25 hours on the floor criticizing Trump and Trump's administration without speaking about the genocide in any substantive way. That's just me.
That right there. That right there. That right there. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, that's the reason why Marc Lamont Hill, that old guy, did not speak up on it. Let me see. Did I get a graphic? Thought I had a graphic here on my computer. I swear to God, I had one. Apparently, I don't. But yeah, the guy takes almost $900,000 from APAC and other Israel lobbies. That's all combined, by the way. $900,000. So yeah, of course he's not going to talk about the genocide because he's obviously, if APAC giving you money, that means you side with the what's happening in Gaza. And as a black man, like I think being a black Zionist is, yeah, you really a piece of crap. Like I'm just saying, like like considering what happened to us in history and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden you supporting a genocide of indigenous people in their own country, like literally in their own country, getting bummed because Israel have to fulfill this prophecy in this book that's been written by man. By the way, nobody want to talk about that. God, yep, yeah, man. Like even like some Democrats with healthcare talk about Cory Booker. They said what he did was good, but he take money from APAC and he didn't talk about the genocide in Gaza, so he ain't feeling it. So yeah, a lot of people is on that level basically.
There's many issues on the table. If you say he was just focusing on domestic policy issues, maybe. But Cory Booker is an art Zionist. Cory Booker is super pro-Israel, and so it's not a coincidence that of all the atrocities, all the awfulness that he thinks about Trump, somehow that didn't make the cut. Just want to point that out. But beyond that, Cory Booker spoke to some major issues that affect corporate America, that affect Wall Street, that affect Main Street, that affect the people in the projects, that affect the people in the C-suites. He went across the board to talk about the relationship between those things. I'm not saying he was giving shout outs or showing love to the 1%. I'm saying he was talking about the relationship between these policies that benefit the 1% and the realities on the ground.
Oh, our car's value went up.
Maybe we should track all our cars' value.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm glad that he drew like the policies. Cory Booker, I wish were to the left of where he is. I wish Cory Booker were actually having a critique of capitalism. I wish Cory Booker wanted to change fundamentally the way this world, or at least this country, operates as. But he wasn't. But he's still saying, look, y'all, there's a fire.
Exactly. Exactly right there, too. Another good point by Mark Lamont Hill. It's like, yeah, yeah, somebody that's in Cory Booker statue, it's only so far you're gonna push. You know, like you know, like this is why one thing I hate about politics is this red team, blue team thing. See, he can't talk against capitalism because number one, he benefits from capitalism. Number two, his party gets money from the billionaire class, which loves capitalism. So it's yeah, it'd be something Cory Booker was out on there saying capitalism is fucking over everybody that's working class, and yeah, he wouldn't have a job anymore in the government as senator, right? Yeah. So yeah, man, it's yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not gonna happen, especially
Look, y'all,
taking.
we got a serious fundamental problem in this country that can't be fixed when Donald Trump is president. In fact, it has been created or at least exacerbated because Donald Trump is president. I'm with all of that. And if it gets people paying attention, if it gets people talking, then it was not in vain. But let's be clear. These spectacles are not the work. They are an entry point into the work. Yes, call out Elon Musk. Yes, talk about the healthcare cuts. Yes, talk about the job loss. Talk about all of that. But none of it's going to amount to a hill of beans, as the kids say in the streets, if we don't do some real organizing work elsewhere. If we don't do real political education elsewhere. Because while he talked for 25 hours, people weren't listening for 25 hours. This was the spectacle. Just like when Dr. King stood on that Pettus Bridge, that was the spectacle. That was not the work. I mean, it's part of the work, but that's not the totality of the work. Cory Booker drew attention, but how are we going to organize? How are we going to teach? How are we going to pull? And how are we on the left, the real left, going to say, look, Cory Booker took us here, but there's more to go. There's more of a critique. There's a more substantive analysis here. Because if we don't have a critique of the state, if we don't have a critique of capitalism, if we don't have a critique of these mechanisms that sort of shape how the world operates, then all we're going to do is wait for another liberal messiah. We're going to wait for the next Gavin Newsom or the next Andrew Cuomo or the next Tim Walz or the next what's his name, Josh Shapiro. We're just going to be waiting for the next Democratic leader to come and take us into the same ridiculous hellhole. We need more than that.
I'm gonna end it there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like you know, yeah, you gotta. Well, I'm gonna take it a step further from what Mark Lamont Hill says, but you gotta take it but you gotta go beyond electoral. Or you gotta take. Oh yeah, I said, what the hell, man? I've been talking all day, guys. I've been on tea time. Now I'm on this, so excuse me if I'm, losing my energy a little bit. It's not intentional, it's just yeah. Um, like yeah, like that's why us radical leftists are trying to tell people need to leave the duopoly, man.